Hello and welcome to the Sunday Afternoon Modular. In this video we will have a look at polarity. You might have seen this on modules, that you are able to change the polarity. Now let's start with a simple sine wave. In this example it goes up to plus 5 volts and down to minus 5 volts. So we have two polarities here, plus and minus. Some modules allow us to change a plus polarity to a minus polarity. If we just completely switch the polarity, so that plus is now minus and minus is the new plus, we call this inverted. As we have a plus and a minus polarity here, this means our waveform is bipolar. If we would only have a plus polarity, or only a minus polarity, it would be unipolar. The higher the pitch of the sound, the more cycles are needed. The lower, the less cycles. But where do I need this now in my modular system? Well, this can be used, for instance, to switch polarities of your waveforms, so you use it on an audible signal, but also, or what I use it mainly on a control voltage signal. So instead of turning a knob by hand, I automate it with a control voltage signal. Let me explain this with a filter cutoff frequency. Our filter has a knob to change the cutoff frequency. The frequency I set with the knob is usually our starting point. Let's call it 0. So when I come with a CV signal that cycles around plus 5 volts and minus 5 volts, from this set frequency it will go up or open the filter when it receives a positive signal, and go down or close the filter if it receives a negative signal. This is a bipolar signal. Now, if I only want it to go up and then back to R0, I need a unipolar signal with a plus polarity. I hope that makes sense. But what if it's doing too much for me and I don't want it to go up that far? Well, I can lower the CV signal with an attenuator. So now our signal is only plus 3 volts, for example. So if your CV signal is too wild, you can tame it with an attenuator. And with an attenuator, you can change polarities. I think to understand such things can be helpful when playing around with not only modular synthesizers. What can also be very helpful to understand what happens with the waveform when you put it through a certain module is an oscilloscope. There are the classic big ones available, where most of the time an adapter is needed. But there are also some oscilloscope modules, just as the Dave Jones design O-Tool Plus, the VPME Zeroscope, the IntelliGel Zeroscope 1U, which actually is based on the VPME Zeroscope, or the Ferrari the Mordex Data. And last but not least, small external ones, like the Korg NewTect NTS2. Back to our waveform with a plus and minus polarity. Now a loudspeaker works in the same way. There is a movable coil which moves the speaker membrane back and forth, creating airwaves that we then pick up as sound as long as they are in our hearable range. Now a 100 Hz tone would mean 100 cycles per second. So for 20,000 Hz or 20 kHz, this would mean 20,000 cycles a second. This is why we have speakers for bass and tweeters for the high tones, and sometimes even mid-range speakers. A speaker for bass would never be able to cycle 20,000 times a second. Now for a microphone, for example a condenser mic, it is exactly the same, just the other way around, that it picks up the airwaves or acoustic signal and converts it into an electric signal. For a tone around 2000 Hz, the capsule of the mic will have to cycle 2000 times a second. This is why such capsules are rather sensitive. That was it. I hope this video was interesting for you. If so, leave a like, a comment, and if you aren't already, I would be happy to welcome you as a new subscriber. So long, have a great day, evening or night, and see you next time on the